What's up, VC? Dylan here from Noble Records. Welcome, guys. On the turntable today, we have this is a Pink Floyd bootleg, The Man and the Journey. This is live in Amsterdam, September 17th, 1969. So this is pretty cool stuff. There's a bunch of crazy material on here I've never heard anywhere else. So actually sold this to Tunesfromthemancave. He's on here. He's making some videos, and he traded it back to me for some other stuff. So I'm owning this one for the second time, enjoying it again, rediscovering it again. So thank you, Chris. It's been a little bit since I made a video, I guess week and a half or so. Really, reason for that is hadn't really found anything lately. I've been kind of striking out. And so basically, I know, like, I post pictures on Instagram and I find stuff and people are like, "Oh man, you're so lucky," and I can't believe you're finding this stuff, and I never find stuff like this. It never happens to me. Well, truth is, past week and a half, I've been hunting everywhere, striking out like crazy. Like, it's been bad. So if you look enough places and strike out enough, eventually you find something. So I guess everything was going pretty good, and then one day I got this call from this guy, and he said he had 2,000 records that were all classic rock from the late 60s. That's what he said. And I'm like, wow, that's great. I'm there. So I drove up there. He lived 2 hours away, so I drove 2 hours to his house and 2 hours back. It was a 4-hour round trip. When I got there, I was really expecting some good stuff. I mean, the way he described it, he said no one's gone, because I asked him a lot of questions. I asked a lot of questions before I drove a couple hours, Has anybody ever picked through it? Has anybody picked all the good stuff out? Where did you get it? He answered all the questions really well. I really felt like it was a really good collection. It was not. He lied to me, completely lied through his teeth to me. When I got to his house, he was running like an antique store out of his garage, and he had bought these from somebody else that had been picked through a ton of times. The only thing left was garbage. I mean, I found, I think, 3 or 4 records that I would have even wanted out of the 2,000 that were there, and he wouldn't sell them to me, just individually. And so it was a complete bust. It was literally an entire day ruined. From there, I had the next day, I mentioned in another video, this guy had owned a thrift store. He was like 90 years old. He had 5,000 records he wanted to sell, and he was really excited about selling them to me. That dig completely fell through. I got up with the guy. He wasn't interested in doing it anymore. His wife had gotten involved, and she said she didn't want somebody in her home looking through her stuff, and so she said that I couldn't come. So I was really disappointed about that. I've since talked to him. We're trying to piece something together to make it happen. It's difficult because he can't really move the records because he's so old, and she doesn't want me over there. So we're trying to salvage it, and he wants to sell them still, and so there's still a line of communication. Hopefully in the future that'll happen. That's one of those long-term things that might work out one day. I had another collection I was supposed to look at, and had already agreed on a time with a lady, and she had about 3,000 or 4,000 records from what she'd been telling me. So we were supposed to meet up actually 2 days ago, and when I contacted her right before I was going to leave, and she said someone had come and bought like 500 of the records, but there was still a lot left. And I immediately said, not interested in not coming all the way down there. That was 2 hours away. And I told her, do not let anyone look through the records. Do not let everyone pick through the records. So she let someone pick through and pick all the good stuff out. And I wasn't about to drive down there. And so that was another one that was completely wasted. I had another one that was actually nearby. It was a collection that I was supposed to go look out. Somebody else bought it out from under me. So it was like one thing after another, after another, after another, after another. Terrible, terrible, terrible week and a half. So then last night, I stopped at a Goodwill, and I find some Leonard Cohen, some like decent jazz stuff, some like 6 or 7 are pretty decent records. So I'm like, maybe this is breaking my bad luck streak. I don't really believe in that, but you know, sometimes when you get on a run, you know, it lasts a little bit. So then I was like, well, on the way home, I was driving, and there was another Goodwill. I was like, well, I'll stop into this one just to see. That one, I got some I got like 5 or 6 Tom Waits records that were still in the shrink. Got some Tim Buckley. Got some pretty good stuff there too. So I was like, man, I feel pretty lucky. So, been talking to this guy for about a month about his collection, and he it's kind of one of those deals to where it was too good to be true. What he told me he had, it seemed almost too good to be true. He said that he was a retired record dealer, that he dealt records back when he was in college, but then when he got a real job, he quit. He said that he was a big-time collector still, but he had a bunch of old stock that he was selling that was just sitting in his garage or his basement, and he wasn't using it anymore, and he wanted to get rid of it, and he wanted to thin out his collection. That's what he told me. So I've been talking to him a little bit, texting back and forth, messaging back and forth, and just really couldn't put together a time. Literally for the past month, I've been trying to get over there, and just he's not been very motivated, and it's just been really frustrating. But a few days ago, I just picked up the phone and called him, you know, old school, and he didn't pick up, and I left him a message. I said, hey, you know, this is who I am, this is what I do, really interested in getting to look through what you have. I'll pay you fair prices. You know, I just would be honored to be able to come look at what you have. From what you're telling me, it would be incredible to get that opportunity. So he called me right back, and he said, yeah, you know, I've been looking for somebody like you that would respect what I have, and maybe you can come over and just take a look at what I have and see what what you'd be willing to do. So today, we had set up time for today for me to come over there. I go over there and ring the guy's doorbell. He's not coming to the door. He's got Pink Floyd The Wall on so loud in his house he cannot even hear me. So finally he realizes I'm there and comes to the door. Really cool guy. Really nice. He takes me up to his music room. He's got probably a 24 by 24 foot room. Wall to wall shelves with records all the way around. He's got like, I don't know, 10,000 records maybe in this room. I don't know. A lot. Unbelievable. I wanted to take pictures, but it would have been rude. I'm trying to kind of build a rapport with this guy. Had unbelievable turntables, a whole sound system, really incredible music room, and still there were records all over the floor, boxes everywhere. I was just drooling in there. Took me to another room. He had records and sound systems and stereos and all this stuff. So I said, man, oh my gosh. And I was like, show me something I can buy, you know, because this is his collection. And he said he wanted to whittle down his collection down to maybe a few thousand, like 2,000 or 3,000. But he had like 5 or 6, I mean, sometimes 10, 15 copies of every record. Like, I mean, I saw that many White Albums, you know, in there. I mean, he had tons. So I said, show me something I can buy. So he takes me down to his basement, and he has a mound of boxes. I mean, he had to have had at least 10,000 records down there in his basement that were boxed up. And he said, these are the ones that I had been selling at record shows and all this stuff. They're already priced and everything like that. These are the ones I definitely don't want, and I'm willing to sell them. And he had wall-to-wall speakers, receivers, turntables, hundreds of speakers, hundreds of turntables. I've never seen anything like it in my life. It was unbelievable. And so I was like, well, let me look through these. He said, man, I really don't have time. I got a lot going on. Maybe you can come back in May. I'm like, that's over a month away. I was like, man, I drove all the way out here. I really would like to buy something before I leave. I said, I understand you got stuff going on. I totally want to respect you. And I said, but let's just get a little bit of cash flowing, you know. And he said, well, I got a little bit of time, so let's do that. So I start going through. Like I said, the stuff's already priced. I asked him, like, you don't want these prices? And even though the stuff was priced pretty fairly, he hasn't sold records, I think, for like 15 years. So prices were 15 years ago prices. so they're really fair. And he said, well, you know, something close to that. So I just went through, and he said, man, I got just a few minutes. So I'm speed digging, pulling stuff out. I'm sweating, pulling stuff out that I want. So I'm making a stack. My stack starts growing. My eyes are this big, great stuff in there. So I get about 300 records. And he goes through them and kind of does math in his head, how much is there, and we make a deal. Basically, it wasn't full on the prices he had on them. They were discounted a little bit because I bought so many. But I was in a situation to where I was looking at an incredible collection. I knew I couldn't buy it all today. So I put the best offer I could on him, and he gladly accepted it. He felt like it was really fair. And what I wanted to do was make sure that he felt respected in me coming into his home, that he was comfortable with the transaction, because I really needed to be able to come back. And also, you know, I really wanted him to feel good about the stuff, because he had spent years and years and years collecting this stuff. And so I think a lot of times we, you know, me personally, you know, I look at, you know, the record I'm selling to somebody, like, you know, here's a kid who really has been looking for this record. Here's a guy who's been looking for this record for a long time. Like, this record is going to be loved. This record is going to be well used. It's getting put into some really good hands. But a lot of times we don't think about where the record comes from, and I think we have to equally respect the person that originally bought the record, in my opinion. When you're buying collections for somebody, I know a lot of people that if they roll up on a collection that they know they can make, you know, $2,000 on, they'll offer them $20 for it if they can get it for $20. And I really do try, and I'm not saying I haven't done that in the past. I haven't offered people things because I didn't have much money. You know, I have in the past when I was very young into doing this, but it always pays to respect the other person and to be honest with them. And I feel like it comes around full circle when you look at what somebody's got and you offer them the real money where you know you could make some money off of it too, obviously, and most of the time they're cool with that. They know that you're not giving them full retail value for it. But, you know, respect them in a way that you give them enough money to where you both are happy about the transaction, and that you know, and that they're not being taken advantage of. So you know, I know a lot of people, a lot of record dealers, they want to get off just absolutely as cheap as they can. But, you know, in the past, I've dealt with record collections. I've sold my record collections to 2 record dealers before, and I know when they're trying to screw me over and when they're not. So, anyways, I'll get off my soapbox. But, you know, I've realized that the better you can treat somebody, it'll always come back around to you. That's how I feel. So, I really try to treat this guy pretty well. Tried to pay him pretty well. Paid up for the stuff, but I didn't even scratch the surface, guys. I bought 300 or 400 records. I'll show you a picture. It didn't even scratch the surface. So I was really happy with all the stuff I got. I got a bunch of Zeppelin, Floyd, a couple Beatles, some Rush, some T-Rex, and stuff like that. So I'm going to do a flip video so you guys can see kind of all I got.
that was some of the better stuff I got. The stuff's kind of all over the place right now. I'm trying to grade things and price things and clean things, and it's just kind of a crazy night. But that give you a little bit of idea what was in there.
There will definitely be more from this guy. He's interested in selling all of his sound gear, his his receivers and turntables. He only wants a couple for a couple rooms in his house. He doesn't want all that stuff in his basement. He's trying to clear everything out. He's trying to sell all the records in his basement and quite a few out of his personal collection because he just wants to minimize a little bit. So, me and him really clicked. Really had a good time talking to him about music and records and all that stuff. So, I really feel good about the future and being able to deal with him and the more stuff I can get, so I can bring him out to these pop-ups. We have the pop-up tomorrow, so I was really excited to get this stuff. In the future, I'm going to try to do I'm going to do a vinyl finds video, just stuff I found recently that I'm keeping for myself. And then I might do like another thrift store video to where you see some of the stuff I've got in the thrift store. So, also, a couple of buddies of mine are just starting out making videos just like me, and got 3 of them. 3 friends of mine. I'll put their links down in the description of this video. We got Chris. His handle is Tunesfromthemancave. He was one of my first customers ever. He started buying from me way back in the day when I was selling on eBay, and he lives, maybe an hour and a half away from me. He comes digging at my house sometimes. I don't let many people do that, but I do with him. Really cool guy. Another one is Cory Jobs. He and I'm trying to remember what his handle is, but I will put it right here. And when I'm editing this video, it'll be right here. The text will be right here. But he's a really cool guy. He's got a lot of knowledge and some great music. And then, so check his out for sure. We got Garrison Haynes, which Cory and Garrison are both, we go way back. So, but these guys live close by too. All 3 of them have actually been in my house, but he's got a lot of really cool audiophile stuff, Japanese pressings and stuff like that. He's made some videos about that. So, check his out. His is something 21st century schizoid. Man, it's going to be right here. All the information you need is going to be right here in a text box, edited in a perfect way. So check those guys out, and hopefully we'll be finding some new stuff always. So peace out until the next time. Keep the music flowing.